Imagine waking up one day and realizing you're living a life designed by someone else, a life built on expectations, societal norms, and the desires of others. What if the person you present to the world is just a carefully constructed mask, and your true self remains hidden, longing to be discovered? Carl Jung offers a profound journey to uncover this hidden self, challenging the conventional idea of a fixed, static personality. Jung believed that our personality is not a solid, unchanging entity, but rather a complex and dynamic landscape, and that true self-discovery lies in exploring and integrating all its diverse parts, both light and dark. Think of your psyche as a vast, uncharted territory, a landscape waiting to be explored. The conscious mind is like a well-lit map, showing the familiar roads and cities, your everyday thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. But beyond this lies the vast, mysterious unconscious, a wilderness teeming with hidden potential and unexplored shadows. Unlike Freud, who focused primarily on resolving past traumas, Jung emphasized the potential for growth and wholeness, guiding us toward a future where we can become the most complete version of ourselves. In today's world, where social media often dictates our self-worth and external pressures shape our identities, understanding Jungian psychology is more crucial than ever. It offers a path to authenticity, helping us break free from the sense of alienation and discover our unique purpose. Imagine the transformative impact of truly knowing yourself: increased self-awareness, healthier relationships built on genuine connection, a profound sense of fulfillment, and a deeper understanding of your place in the world. Contrast this with the consequences of remaining unconscious, the anxiety, depression, and the persistent feeling of being lost in a life that doesn't feel like your own. You will learn to understand your shadow self, anima, animus, and the persona. This is not just about theoretical knowledge, it's a practical guide to personal transformation. Throughout this journey, we'll explore the core themes that underpin Jungian psychology: authenticity, embracing your true self, flaws and all; integration, harmonizing the different aspects of your personality instead of suppressing them; self-awareness, cultivating a deeper understanding of your inner world; personal responsibility, taking ownership of your growth and development; and balance, finding equilibrium between the conscious and unconscious. These principles will guide us as we delve into the depths of the psyche. Carl Jung's own life was a testament to the power of self-exploration. His complex relationship with Freud and his intensely personal journey of self-discovery, documented in the Red Book, profoundly shaped his theories. At the heart of Jung's work is the concept of the psyche, the totality of the conscious and unconscious mind. Picture the psyche as a dynamic and interconnected ecosystem. It is similar to an iceberg, where the conscious mind is merely the tip visible above the water, while the vast, submerged portion represents the unconscious. This psyche is composed of several key elements that we will explore in detail: the ego, the center of conscious identity; the personal unconscious, containing repressed memories and emotions; and the collective unconscious, a reservoir of universal experiences and archetypes. Within the collective unconscious reside the archetypes, universal patterns of behavior, imagery, and symbolism that shape our perceptions and experiences. Consider the hero archetype, a figure found in countless stories and myths across cultures, representing the human quest for self-discovery and transformation. We will explore several key archetypes, including the shadow, the hidden, often disowned aspects of ourselves; the anima, animus, the inner feminine and masculine principles; the persona, the social mask we wear; and the self, the ultimate goal of integration and wholeness. If we are not who we think we are, then who are we really? Is it truly possible to know ourselves beyond the surface level? Can we ever fully reconcile the conflicting parts within us? The unconscious holds both hidden dangers and untapped potential, and the shadow contains both our greatest fears and our greatest gifts. We often project our own unconscious traits onto others, leading to misunderstandings and conflicts. For example, you may find yourself intensely irritated by someone's arrogance, unaware that you secretly struggle with your own feelings of inadequacy. In this video, we're embarking on a journey to the deepest parts of ourselves, and by the end, you'll have the tools to begin exploring your true self through dream analysis, active imagination, and other practical techniques. Stay tuned, because what you discover may change everything. Now, let's delve deeper into this inner landscape and begin to understand the roles we play, the masks we wear, and the shadows we keep hidden. One of the most fundamental concepts in Jungian psychology is the persona, the mask we present to the world. It's the social role we adopt, the face we show to others, and it's crucial to understand that this persona is not your true self, but a carefully constructed identity shaped by societal expectations and early childhood experiences. Think of it as the outermost layer of your inner landscape, the first thing people see when they interact with you. It develops as a response to the expectations of parents, teachers, peers, and society at large, molding us into acceptable members of the community. But what is the purpose of this mask? Why do we need to present a version of ourselves that isn't entirely authentic? The persona serves several important functions. It helps us navigate social interactions, protecting us from vulnerability and enabling us to fit in with different groups. It's the diplomat that allows us to engage with the world. A healthy persona is flexible and adaptable, allowing us to adjust our behavior to suit different situations. But an unhealthy persona becomes rigid and suffocating, trapping us in a role that no longer serves us. Consider the scenario of someone who always acts cheerful and agreeable to avoid conflict, even when they are deeply unhappy. This person's persona has become a prison, preventing them from expressing their true emotions and needs. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that having a persona is inherently negative, that authenticity requires us to discard the mask altogether. But Jung argued that the persona is a necessary and unavoidable part of social life. The problem arises when we identify too strongly with it, losing touch with our true self and believing that the mask is who we are. This can lead to a sense of emptiness, alienation, and a nagging feeling that we're living a lie. How do we know if we have become too identified with our persona? What are the signs that our true self is being suffocated by the mask we wear? Beyond the persona, lurking in the depths of the unconscious, lies another critical aspect of the self, the shadow. The shadow is often described as the dark side of our personality, containing repressed emotions, unacceptable desires, and disowned aspects of the self. It includes those traits we deem undesirable, shameful, or inconsistent with our conscious image of who we think we should be. However, it's important to emphasize that the shadow is not inherently evil. It's simply the parts of ourselves we don't want to acknowledge, the aspects we've rejected or suppressed. We can't pick and choose only what we like about ourselves and expect to be fully whole. The shadow operates largely within the unconscious, exerting a powerful influence on our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, often without our conscious awareness. One of the primary ways the shadow manifests is through projection, where we see our own shadow traits in others and are intensely triggered by them. For instance, consider someone who is extremely judgmental of another person's laziness when they secretly feel guilty about their own procrastination. This intense judgment is often a sign that they are projecting their own disowned laziness onto the other person. Recognizing these projections is crucial for understanding our shadow and taking responsibility for our own inner darkness. Integrating the shadow doesn't mean becoming perfect or condoning harmful behavior. Instead, it involves acknowledging our flaws, embracing our imperfections, and reclaiming disowned aspects of our personality. This process leads to greater self-acceptance, empathy, and authenticity. By confronting our shadow, we can understand why we react to certain things in certain ways. This understanding makes it possible to alter our reactions, leading to self-mastery. Acknowledging and integrating the shadow, paradoxically, helps us become better people, capable of greater compassion for self and others. Our culture often encourages us to suppress, negative emotions and present a positive image to the world. But Jung argued that denying the shadow leads to unconscious acting out, neurosis, and a lack of wholeness. When we repress our shadow, it doesn't disappear. It simply goes underground, where it can wreak havoc on our lives in subtle and destructive ways. Integrating the shadow, on the other hand, releases energy and creativity that was previously tied up in repression, allowing us to access a wider range of human experience. Facing your shadow is undeniably difficult, often involving painful self-reflection, but it ultimately leads to liberation. Now, moving even deeper into the complex architecture of our minds, let's turn our attention to the anima and animus. The anima in men is the inner feminine principle, representing emotions, intuition, and relatedness. The animus in women is the inner masculine principle, representing logic, assertiveness, and independence. It's crucial to clarify that these concepts aren't about rigid gender stereotypes. They're about psychological qualities that are present in all individuals, regardless of their biological sex. Jung recognized that to be fully human, we must embrace both our masculine and feminine sides. These inner figures are not merely personal constructs. They are rooted in the collective unconscious, serving as archetypal representations of the opposite sex. The anima and animus influence our relationships, our creativity, and our overall sense of self, often in ways we don't consciously recognize. For example, a man overly driven by logic, who is disconnected from his emotions and struggles with intimacy, may be suffering from an underdeveloped anima. Conversely, a woman overly identified with her career, who suppresses her nurturing side and struggles with vulnerability, may be struggling with her animus. The goal is to strike a balance between these forces. Understanding the anima and animus can significantly improve our relationships. By recognizing these qualities within ourselves, we can better understand the opposite sex and avoid projecting unrealistic expectations onto our partners. Projecting the anima or animus onto others often leads to disappointment, as no real person can ever fully embody our idealized inner image. These projections can also stem from the shadow, leading us to project our own disowned feminine or masculine traits onto others. For example, one may find themselves constantly criticizing a friend for being overly emotional, projecting anima, or overly aggressive, projecting animus. The traditional view often portrays the anima and animus as problematic, inner figures that cause trouble, leading to irrational behavior and emotional turmoil. However, Jung challenged this perspective, presenting them as guides to self-discovery, helping us to become more whole and balanced individuals. Integrating the anima and animus enriches our lives, fostering deeper connections with ourselves and others. This integration allows us to embrace a wider range of human qualities, transcending the limitations of traditional gender roles. By embracing the anima and animus, both men and women can become more complete versions of themselves, integrating intuition and logic, emotion and reason, assertiveness and relatedness. So, how do we begin to explore these hidden aspects of ourselves? How do we access the unconscious and begin the process of integration? Fortunately, Jung provided us with practical tools for self-exploration, most notably dream analysis and active imagination. These techniques offer ways to access and understand the symbolic language of the unconscious mind, allowing us to gain insights into our shadow, our anima animus, and our overall psychological makeup. Through this, you can start to understand why you are who you are and why you do what you do. These tools are deeply interconnected with the concepts we've explored thus far. Dreams, for example, can reveal shadow traits, anima animus influences, and persona distortions, providing valuable clues about our inner world. Active imagination, on the other hand, can be used to dialogue with these aspects of the self, leading to integration and wholeness. Dream symbolism often parallels shadow characteristics and anima animus patterns. A recurring dream of being lost, for instance, might represent a lack of direction in life, stemming from a repressed desire or an unacknowledged aspect of the self. These symbols are messages from our unconscious waiting to be deciphered. Interpreting dreams involves identifying recurring symbols, themes, and emotions. Keep a dream journal, noting down as much detail as you can remember upon waking. Look for patterns and connections between your dreams and your waking life. Active imagination, similarly, involves entering a meditative state and visualizing a figure representing your shadow or anima animus. Engage in a dialogue with this figure, asking questions and listening to its responses. This process can be surprisingly revealing, providing insights into hidden aspects of your personality. While there are many sources that provide lists of common dream symbols, it's important to remember that dream symbology is highly personal, and the real meaning can only be derived through honest, careful self-reflection. It's important to remember that these tools are not about finding definitive answers or achieving a perfect understanding of the self. They are about ongoing exploration, curiosity, and self-compassion. The journey of self-discovery is a lifelong process, and there will be times when you feel lost or confused. The key is to embrace the uncertainty, trust your intuition, and continue to explore the depths of your inner world. Journaling and reflecting on the insights gained through these practices can deepen your understanding and help you integrate these discoveries into your daily life. But what is the ultimate goal of this journey? Where does all this self-exploration lead us? All of these elements of our psyche, these fragmented pieces of who we are, coalesce and propel us on the ultimate journey, individuation. Individuation is the lifelong process of becoming a whole and integrated self. It's not a destination to be reached, but a continuous journey of self-discovery, growth, and transformation. Jung believed that this process is the primary goal of human life, the path to true fulfillment and meaning. It's not about achieving perfection, but about embracing our unique individuality and living an authentic life. Individuation encompasses all the concepts we've explored thus far. Integrating the shadow, understanding the anima animus, and developing a healthy persona are all essential steps on the path of individuation. This is a deeply personal journey, and there is no one-size-fits-all approach. What works for one person may not work for another. The key is to listen to your inner guidance, trust your intuition, and be willing to embrace the unknown. A critical component is striking a balance between the conscious and unconscious, allowing both aspects of the self to inform our choices and actions. The benefits of individuation are profound. It leads to increased self-awareness, authenticity, and a deeper sense of meaning and purpose in life. By integrating the different aspects of our personality, we can overcome inner conflicts and live in greater harmony with ourselves and the world around us. Individuation requires us to embrace paradox, accept uncertainty, and live in alignment with our values, even when it's difficult. The journey is not easy, and it often involves confronting painful truths about ourselves. However, the rewards are immeasurable. In a society that often pressures us to conform to external expectations, individuation calls us to embrace our unique individuality. It challenges us to question the norms and values we've been taught and to create our own path, even if it means going against the grain. True fulfillment comes from living an authentic life, aligned with our deepest values and aspirations. This journey includes both the light and dark sides of ourself, and embracing both is what builds towards wholeness. But how do we reconcile this with the need for connection and community? How do we balance our individuality with our social responsibilities? What does this journey ultimately mean for the way we live our lives? To further understand this balance, let's explore how we often unconsciously attribute our own unacceptable qualities or emotions to others, a phenomenon known as psychological projection. This is a defense mechanism where we disown parts of ourselves, particularly those associated with the shadow or the less developed aspects of our anima animus, and then see those traits reflected in the people around us. It's as if we're looking in a distorted mirror, unable to recognize the reflection as our own. Projection operates subtly in our daily lives, particularly within our relationships. Consider someone who consistently accuses their partner of being dishonest, while they themselves struggle with their own integrity. Or think of an individual who frequently criticizes others for lacking ambition, when they secretly fear their own potential for failure. These accusations and judgments are often unconscious attempts to deflect attention away from our own perceived shortcomings. Projection is a common defense mechanism that stems from an unhealthy persona, one that's overly concerned with maintaining a flawless image, or from an unintegrated shadow, where unacceptable traits are denied rather than acknowledged. So, how can we recognize when we are projecting? A key indicator is strong emotional reactions to others, especially feelings of intense irritation, disgust, or even excessive admiration. When someone's behavior triggers an unusually strong response in us, it's worth examining whether we are seeing a reflection of our own disowned qualities. Journaling, self-reflection, and therapy can all be valuable tools for identifying our projections, bringing these unconscious patterns into conscious awareness. Start by examining your triggers. What is it about a person or their behavior that makes you disproportionately upset? Instead of blaming others for our problems, we can see projection as a valuable opportunity for self-discovery. By examining what we dislike or admire in others, we can gain valuable insights into our own unconscious. If someone's arrogance grates on you, ask yourself if you might be suppressing your own confidence or ambition. If you are drawn to someone's creativity, perhaps you have a hidden artistic side waiting to be expressed. Seeing traits that bother us as a potential reflection of what we need to accept in ourselves can dramatically alter how we perceive the world. Deeper still, symbols and archetypes play a pivotal role in the Jungian understanding of the psyche. Archetypes are universal, primordial images and patterns of behavior that reside in the collective unconscious, the shared inheritance of all humanity. Symbols are the language through which these archetypes express themselves, offering glimpses into the deeper layers of our minds. These symbols and archetypes provide a framework for understanding the complexities of the human experience. These archetypes are echoed in mythology, fairy tales, and dreams, with these narratives reflecting universal human experiences and psychological themes. The hero's journey, for example, embodies the quest for self-discovery and transformation. The wise old man represents wisdom and guidance, often appearing in times of crisis. The Great Mother symbolizes nurturing and compassion, while the trickster embodies chaos and change. These archetypes connect directly to the persona, shadow, and anima animus. A rigid persona, for instance, might prevent us from embracing the trickster archetype, hindering our ability to adapt and evolve. An unintegrated shadow might manifest as a monstrous figure in our dreams, reflecting our repressed anger or aggression. The anima or animus can appear as idealized figures in our relationships, representing our longing for wholeness. Understanding these archetypes can provide a framework for interpreting our own lives and experiences. By recognizing the archetypal patterns at play, we can gain a deeper understanding of our motivations, relationships, and life purpose. A person going through a major life transition might identify with the hero archetype, embracing the challenges and uncertainties of their journey. Someone struggling with self-acceptance might relate to the wounded healer, recognizing their own capacity for healing and transformation. Seeing the themes of the archetypes playing out in one's life can be extremely insightful. Symbols and archetypes, however, should be viewed as tools for self-exploration, not as rigid categories. The meaning of a symbol is personal and subjective, and it's important to trust your own intuition and inner guidance. Rather than viewing symbols as external forces, consider them internal keys for unlocking self-understanding. What does a particular symbol evoke in you? What feelings, memories, and associations does it bring to mind? These personal connections are often more meaningful than any dictionary definition. Expanding on this, Dream analysis offers another practical application, providing detailed guidance on how to interpret dreams and emphasizing that dreams are not literal, but symbolic representations of unconscious content. Dreams offer a unique window into our inner world, revealing hidden desires, fears, and unresolved conflicts. They speak to us in the language of symbols, metaphors, and emotions. To understand the language of dreams, pay attention to recurring dream themes, emotions, and symbols, keeping a dream journal and recording your dreams immediately upon waking. Notice the overall tone of the dream, the emotions you experienced, and any recurring symbols or figures. Are you often being chased? Are you constantly finding yourself in unfamiliar places? Do certain people or objects appear repeatedly? What is the emotional atmosphere of the dream? Linking patterns that show up in dreams to patterns already discussed, like projections or shadow characteristics, can deepen your understanding. For example, a dream about being trapped in a small space might reflect feelings of confinement in your waking life, stemming from an overly restrictive persona or an unacknowledged need for freedom. Specific techniques for interpreting dream symbols include free association and amplification. Free association involves writing down everything that comes to mind when you think of a particular symbol, without censoring yourself or judging your thoughts. Amplification involves researching the historical and cultural context of the symbol, exploring its traditional meanings and associations. If you dream of a snake, for instance, you might free associate by writing down words like danger, healing, transformation, and temptation. You could then amplify this by researching the symbolism of snakes in different cultures, discovering that they often represent healing and renewal, as well as danger and deception. It's crucial to abandon the idea that there is a single, correct interpretation of a dream. Instead, approach dream analysis as a process of self-discovery, where the goal is to uncover hidden aspects of the self and gain a deeper understanding of your inner world. Emphasize the importance of intuition and trusting your own feelings about a dream. How does the dream feel to you? What is the overall message it seems to be conveying? Your personal interpretation is what truly matters. Active imagination provides another path, offering a technique for consciously engaging with the unconscious mind. It involves entering a meditative state and allowing images, feelings, and thoughts to arise spontaneously. This is an active process where you consciously interact with the contents of your unconscious rather than passively observing them. It's a way of bringing the unconscious into dialogue with the conscious mind. To engage in active imagination, choose a starting point, e.g., a dream image, a feeling, or a question. Enter a relaxed state, and allowing the imagination to unfold without judgment. Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and focus on your chosen starting point. Allow images, feelings, and thoughts to arise spontaneously without trying to control or censor them. Where does the starting point take you? What scenes unfold in your mind's eye? What emotions do you experience? Linking it back to individuation, active imagination is an active step on the path to understanding oneself, with each session adding more to the understanding of the psyche. Interact with the figures and symbols that arise in active imagination by asking questions, expressing emotions, and engaging in dialogue. If a figure appears, ask it its name, its purpose, and its message for you. Express your feelings honestly, whether they are positive or negative. Allow the dialogue to unfold naturally without forcing it in any particular direction. Maintain a respectful and open-minded attitude, even if the figures or symbols are unsettling or unfamiliar. Don't fear the unconscious. Instead, see active imagination as a safe and effective way to explore your inner world, integrate shadow aspects, and access your creative potential. Emphasize that it's a process of self-discovery, not a form of self-hypnosis or delusion. It is a controlled descent into the unconscious. You are consciously guiding the journey, rather than being swept away by its currents. Despite its profound potential, Jungian psychology is not without its critics. and it's important to acknowledge common criticisms and misconceptions. This includes concerns about its lack of empirical evidence, its reliance on subjective experience, and its perceived esoteric or mystical nature. Addressing these concerns is essential for a balanced understanding of Jung's work. Some critics argue that Jungian psychology lacks the empirical rigor of mainstream psychology, relying too heavily on subjective experience and anecdotal evidence. They point to the difficulty of testing Jungian concepts, such as archetypes and the collective unconscious, using traditional scientific methods. Acknowledge that Jungian psychology is not based on the same empirical methods as mainstream psychology, but argue that it offers valuable insights into the human psyche that cannot be captured by quantitative research alone. Specific focus on patterns. Addressing patterns where Jungian psychology and other disciplines are often compared or contrasted shows the importance of integrating multiple perspectives. It is important to approach Jungian psychology with a critical and discerning mind. It's not a substitute for therapy or medical treatment, but a complementary approach to self-understanding and personal growth. Evaluate the evidence, consider alternative perspectives, and draw your own conclusions. By understanding both its strengths and limitations, we can use Jungian psychology in a responsible and effective way. Instead of accepting criticisms at face value, it's important to encourage critical thinking and deeper examination of the source, highlighting the ongoing relevance and value of Jung's ideas in contemporary society. Jung's insights into the human psyche continue to resonate with people from all walks of life, offering a powerful framework for understanding ourselves and the world around us. Furthermore, Jung's model can be integrated with other approaches to therapy, such as cognitive behavioral therapy or mindfulness-based interventions. Jungian psychology also raises ethical considerations related to power dynamics, interpretation, and the potential for misuse. And understanding these issues is crucial for responsible application of these concepts. The depth of exploration Jungian psychology provides necessitates an ethical application of these principles. Within the context of therapy, the therapist-client relationship raises ethical questions. Jungian analysis emphasizes collaboration and autonomy to avoid imposing interpretations. The therapist acts as a guide, helping the client to explore their own unconscious and discover their own meanings. The therapist's role is to facilitate, not to dictate, the client's journey of self-discovery. We must use Jungian insights to promote empathy, understanding, and social justice. By recognizing our shared humanity and unconscious biases, we can work towards a more equitable and compassionate world. For instance, understanding the shadow can help us to recognize our own prejudices and biases, leading to greater tolerance and acceptance of others. Understanding the anima and animus can help us to challenge traditional gender roles and promote gender equality. Engage with Jungian psychology in a way that is both personally transformative and socially responsible, challenging viewers to examine how their actions affect others and to strive to live in alignment with their values. By integrating our inner world with our outer actions, we can create a more meaningful and fulfilling life for ourselves and contribute to a more just and compassionate world for all. Ultimately, the culmination of Jungian psychology leads us to the self, which represents the wholeness and integration of the personality. The self is not the same as the ego, which is the center of conscious awareness, but rather the center of the entire psyche, including the conscious and unconscious. It's the organizing principle that brings all the different aspects of our personality into harmony. The self guides us towards wholeness through the process of individuation, with images of unity, such as mandalas, circles, and the divine, symbolizing the self. The mandala, in particular, is a powerful symbol of the self, representing the integration of all aspects of the personality into a unified whole. It is worth remembering the recurring patterns of symbolism that appear in dreams, active imagination exercises, and throughout the journey of individuation, for these are all connected to the self. By recognizing these recurring patterns, we can gain a deeper understanding of our own unique path to wholeness. It's also important to recognize that the self is not a static or fixed entity, but a dynamic and ever-evolving process. It's not about achieving a perfect state of being, but about embracing paradox, accepting uncertainty, and living in alignment with one's deepest values. The journey towards the self involves continuous growth, self-acceptance, and integration. It requires us to be open to new experiences, willing to challenge our beliefs, and committed to living an authentic life. Therefore, challenge the societal emphasis on achieving perfection and encourage viewers to see the journey towards the self as a process of continuous growth, self-acceptance, and integration. The end goal is not achieving a perfect state of being, but accepting yourself in your current imperfect one. True fulfillment comes from embracing your unique individuality and living an authentic life, even if it means going against the grain. By embracing our imperfections, we can discover our true selves and live a more meaningful and fulfilling life. But how can we actively cultivate a connection with the self in our daily lives? What practices and attitudes can help us to stay on the path of individuation? Now, let's transition from the theoretical understanding of the shadow to a practical, step-by-step guide for integrating it into your conscious awareness. Remember that this integration is not a one-time fix, but an ongoing process of self-discovery. It's a continuous journey, not a destination to be reached. Integrating the shadow begins with recognizing its presence in your life. The most direct way is to revisit the concept of projection, acknowledging how it acts as a mirror, reflecting disowned qualities. Recognize your emotional triggers, the people or situations that provoke strong reactions within you, as these are often indications of shadow material. What is it about a particular person that evokes a disproportionate level of annoyance or frustration? When someone consistently annoys you, ask yourself what that trait represents within you. For instance, if you find yourself constantly irritated by someone's boastfulness, consider whether you are suppressing your own desire for recognition or success. This recognition is the first step toward reclaiming those lost parts of yourself. Carl Jung emphasized that the shadow is a living part of the personality and therefore wants to live with it in some way. Denying its existence only strengthens its unconscious control over you. Specific techniques for identifying shadow aspects include journaling, paying attention to recurring negative thoughts, and exploring dreams. In your journal, reflect on instances where you experienced intense emotional reactions, noting the specific triggers and your responses. What recurring negative thoughts plague your mind? Are you consistently critical of yourself or others? These thoughts often point to underlying shadow beliefs. When exploring your dreams, pay attention to shadow figures, which often appear as menacing or disturbing characters. They might be monsters, criminals, or other figures that evoke fear or disgust. These figures represent the disowned aspects of your personality that are seeking recognition and integration. What role do they play in your dreams? What emotions do they evoke? Do they remind you of anyone you know? Challenge the fear that surrounds confronting your shadow and avoid seeing it as unleashing negativity. Instead, view it as reclaiming lost potential and becoming more whole. Integrating your shadow isn't about becoming evil. It's about accepting your full humanity, light and dark. It's about acknowledging your capacity for both good and bad, love and hate, creativity and destruction. Embrace this paradox, knowing that within your shadow lies untapped potential waiting to be expressed. Embrace your imperfections, for they are an integral part of your unique and authentic self. Now, let's move from understanding the anima and animus as inner figures to actively harnessing their power for creativity, relationships, and personal growth. Remember that these internal figures aren't gender-specific, but relate to the qualities of the psyche that have been culturally assigned to each gender. They are archetypal energies that exist within all of us, regardless of our biological sex. The anima and animus are powerful sources of creativity and inspiration. Accessing the inner feminine for men and masculine for women can unlock new perspectives and ways of expressing oneself. Consider a writer tapping into their anima to write more emotionally resonant stories, infusing their work with empathy, vulnerability, and intuition. Or imagine a businesswoman channeling her animus to be more assertive in negotiations, confidently advocating for her ideas and taking decisive action. By embracing these inner energies, we can expand our creative horizons and achieve greater success in our endeavors. As Jung stated, the anima and animus are compensatory to the outer attitude. The anima, for instance, is the bestower of life, the guide, and the mediator to the world of the unconscious. Specific exercises for connecting with your anima and animus include meditation, visualization, and creative writing. Find a quiet space where you can relax and focus your attention. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Visualize meeting and interacting with your anima or animus. What do they look like? What qualities do they embody? What messages do they have for you? Engage in a dialogue with them, asking questions and expressing your feelings. Alternatively, explore your anima animus through creative writing, such as poetry, short stories, or journal entries. Write from their perspective, exploring their thoughts, feelings, and experiences. Allow yourself to be guided by their wisdom and insight. Challenge gender stereotypes and limiting beliefs about masculinity and femininity. Embrace the full spectrum of human qualities within yourself. Remember that embracing your anima and animus isn't about changing your gender. It's about becoming a more complete and balanced person. It's about integrating the qualities that have been traditionally associated with the opposite sex, allowing you to express yourself more fully and authentically. Let go of societal expectations and embrace your unique individuality, knowing that within you lies a vast reservoir of potential waiting to be unleashed. Building on this, let's explore the persona, understanding it as a social mask, and emphasizing how to develop a healthy persona that serves you without suffocating your true self. The persona plays a crucial role in our social interactions and professional lives. A flexible and adaptable persona can help us navigate different situations with grace and effectiveness. However, it's essential to recognize when we are over-identifying with the persona and losing touch with our authenticity. Consider a salesperson adapting their communication style to different clients while staying true to their values, connecting with each customer in a genuine and respectful manner. Or imagine a public speaker who tailors their message to resonate with different audiences while remaining true to their core message. Specific strategies for identifying when we are relying too heavily on our persona include feeling exhausted after social interactions, experiencing a disconnect between our inner feelings and outer behavior, and seeking constant external validation. Do you find yourself drained and depleted after spending time with others? Do you often feel like you're putting on an act, pretending to be someone you're not? Do you constantly seek approval and validation from others, basing your self-worth on their opinions? These are all signs that you might be overly invested in your persona. Challenge the idea that we need to be fake to succeed in life, and argue that true authenticity is magnetic and builds deeper, more meaningful connections. Authenticity isn't about being perfectly yourself all the time. It's about being consistently genuine in your interactions. It's about aligning your outer behavior with your inner values, allowing your true self to shine through. When you are genuine, you attract people who resonate with your authenticity, creating relationships based on trust, respect, and mutual understanding. Let's revisit projection and focus on how to use it as a tool for self-awareness in our interactions with difficult people. Our shadow and anima animus profoundly influence our projections. We intensely dislike or admire in others traits that we see. These projections can be recognized by understanding our emotional reactions. Remember, If someone triggers you intensely, ask yourself what that trait represents within you. This question is your key to unpacking your projections and reclaiming your disowned qualities. For example, you may be projecting a father or mother figure onto your boss and responding to them as if they had parental authority over you. To unpack your projections, follow these steps. First, identify the emotion you are experiencing. What specific feeling is being triggered? Is it anger, fear, sadness, or something else? Second, trace the emotion back to its source within yourself. What past experiences or unmet needs might be contributing to this feeling? Third, integrate the disowned quality. Acknowledge and accept the part of yourself that you have been projecting onto others. Challenge the tendency to blame others for your problems and encourage viewers to see difficult people as teachers who are helping you to see your own blind spots. Difficult people aren't against you, they're for your growth. They are providing you with valuable feedback about your own unconscious patterns and unresolved issues. By shifting your perspective, you can transform your interactions with difficult people from sources of conflict into opportunities for self-discovery. Now let's look at a few case studies of individuals who have successfully navigated the process of individuation, drawn from Jung's writings, biographies, or fictional examples. Common themes and patterns emerge in these case studies: confronting the shadow, integrating the anima animus, developing a healthy persona, and finding meaning and purpose in life. The patterns weave throughout each individual's journey, showing the power of transformation. For instance, consider the fictional character of Harry Potter, who confronts his shadow in the form of Voldemort, integrates his anima through his relationships with Hermione and Ginny, and ultimately embraces his destiny as the chosen one. Or take the example of Carl Jung himself, who underwent a profound personal transformation through his exploration of the unconscious, documented in the Red Book. Each individual faces specific challenges and obstacles on their journey, and we must understand how they overcame them. We should also point out the nuances and individual twists within each journey. Harry Potter faces the challenge of accepting his connection to Voldemort, recognizing that they are two sides of the same coin. Jung confronts his own inner demons through his active imagination exercises, grappling with the figures of Philemon and Salome. Individuation is a unique and personal journey with no one-size-fits-all approach. These stories aren't about copying someone else's path. They're about finding the courage to walk your own. They are meant to inspire and guide you, reminding you that you are capable of transforming your life and achieving your full potential. Each individual's journey serves as a reminder that self-discovery is a continuous process, not a destination to be reached. Let's turn to the ethical considerations related to using Jungian psychology for self-exploration, emphasizing the importance of avoiding harmful projections, respecting the boundaries of others, and using this knowledge for good. There is potential for misinterpreting Jungian concepts or using them to justify harmful behavior. Remember that self-exploration shouldn't be an excuse for hurting others. For example, using the concept of the shadow to justify being rude or aggressive rather than taking responsibility for one's actions is unethical. Specific ethical patterns must be identified and explored. Recognize when insights are being used to excuse behaviors and avoid abusing the system. Guidelines for ethical self-exploration include seeking guidance from qualified professionals, engaging in self-reflection with honesty and humility, and prioritizing the well-being of ourselves and others. Consult with a trained therapist or counselor who can provide guidance and support. Approach self-reflection with honesty and humility, acknowledging your limitations and biases. Always prioritize the well-being of yourself and others, ensuring that your actions are aligned with your values. Self-discovery isn't just a personal endeavor. It has profound implications for our relationships, our communities, and the world at large. Self-discovery isn't just about improving yourself. It's about improving the world through your actions. By understanding ourselves better, we can create more meaningful and fulfilling relationships, contribute to a more just and compassionate society, and live in greater harmony with the world around us. What specific steps can you take to integrate Jungian principles into your daily life? And how will you ensure that your journey of self-discovery is guided by ethical considerations and a commitment to the well-being of all? Let's transition from individual self-exploration to how Jungian concepts illuminate the often perplexing dynamics of interpersonal relationships. Why are we drawn to certain people and repelled by others? Attraction, repulsion, and the unconscious factors that dictate our relational choices often involve projections, our shadow, and the elusive anima animus. Specific scenarios can demonstrate this vividly. Consider a hyper-rational, left-brain individual consistently finding themselves in relationships with wildly creative but emotionally volatile artists. Or picture a docile, passive person repeatedly partnering with dominant, assertive personalities. These aren't random occurrences. They're manifestations of unconscious needs and desires playing out in the theater of relationships. The concept of soul mates takes on a new light from a Jungian perspective. It's not about finding a flawless mirror image, but discovering someone who reflects your inner landscape, challenging you to confront your disowned traits and grow beyond your limitations. The attraction isn't a guarantee of effortless bliss, but rather a signpost pointing toward the inner work that needs to be done. This person embodies the qualities you need to integrate into your personality. It's an invitation to evolve, not necessarily a comfortable journey. What qualities in others ignite your envy or admiration? These feelings aren't arbitrary. They reveal the aspects of yourself yearning for expression. Therefore, challenge the romanticized view of relationships as effortless unions. Instead, embrace the understanding that these relationships are crucibles for self-discovery and individuation. View attraction not as a destiny fulfilled, but as an arrow pointing you toward your inner world. What if the source of your romantic longings lies not in another person, but in the unacknowledged corners of your own psyche? Now, consider the often turbulent role of the shadow in relationship conflict. What irritates you most about your partner? Jung suggests that these irritations are often reflections of your own unacknowledged shadow traits. This projection of disowned qualities onto your partner leads to misunderstandings and resentment. The more you deny a trait in yourself, the more intensely you will react to it in others. Picture this. Someone struggling with their own suppressed anger might constantly accuse their partner of being aggressive, or an individual insecure about their intelligence criticizing their partner's intellect. Why does this specific behavior trigger such a strong reaction within you? So, how do you navigate relationship conflict? By recognizing and owning your projections. Empathy, active listening, and taking responsibility for your own emotions are crucial. Practice seeing your partner's perspective, even when you disagree. Actively listen to their concerns without interrupting or judging. Take ownership of your emotional responses, recognizing that your feelings are your responsibility, not your partner's fault. These steps can transform conflict into a catalyst for deeper connection and understanding. Instead of blaming your partner for your problems, what if you viewed conflict as an invitation to explore the hidden dimensions of your own psyche? Challenge the tendency to see your partner as the source of your problems. Embrace the understanding that every conflict is a chance to learn something new about yourself. With this perspective shift, conflict becomes a pathway to deeper connection and profound personal growth. Can you transform your relationship struggles into opportunities for self-discovery and mutual understanding? Let's now shift gears and apply Jungian principles to career choices and finding meaningful work. Are you aligned with your authentic self, or are you merely fulfilling external expectations? The key lies in aligning your career with your inner truth, not just chasing societal validation. Our dominant archetypes, persona, and shadow all play a role in shaping our professional trajectory. Are you a natural caregiver drawn to the medical profession, or a natural leader thriving in the business world? But what happens when your shadow sabotages your success, leading to burnout, dissatisfaction, or ethical compromises. Exploring your shadow can uncover hidden talents and passions. For instance, someone who fears public speaking might discover a talent for teaching after confronting their fear of judgment, or someone uncomfortable with authority finding fulfillment in a leadership role after integrating their rebellious side. Consider the accountant who secretly dreams of being a musician, or the lawyer who longs to be a social worker. What hidden talents and passions lie dormant within you, waiting to be awakened? Challenge the societal pressure to pursue careers solely for money or status. Instead, prioritize meaning, purpose, and personal fulfillment in your work. What if your career wasn't just about what you do, but about who you become? What if your work could be a vehicle for self-expression, personal growth, and making a positive impact on the world? Now, let's unlock creativity and overcome creative blocks using Jungian concepts. The active imagination and dream work are powerful tools for accessing the unconscious source of inspiration. How can you tap into this inner wellspring and unleash your creative potential? Connect active imagination to the anima animus as muses or sources of creative inspiration. Engaging in dialogue with these inner figures can unlock new ideas and perspectives. Try this. Find a quiet space where you can relax and focus your attention. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Visualize your anima or animus appearing before you. What do they look like? What qualities do they embody? Engage in a dialogue with them, asking questions and expressing your feelings. What messages do they have for you? Allow their wisdom to guide you. This technique gives you the means to develop unique creative expression. Many famous artists, writers, and musicians have used Jungian techniques to fuel their creativity. By confronting their shadow aspects, they have created more authentic and powerful work. For example, consider the poet who delves into their darkest emotions to create hauntingly beautiful verses, or the painter who embraces their inner child to produce whimsical and imaginative artwork. How has confronting your shadow influenced your creative expression? How do you feel about the myth of the tortured artist? Challenge the myth of the tortured artist, arguing that true creativity comes not from suffering, but from embracing wholeness and integrating all aspects of the self. Creativity isn't something you find, it's something you unleash by connecting with your inner world. Your creativity doesn't stem from personal tragedy, but from your ability to integrate the totality of your experiences into meaningful forms of expression. How can you transform your pain into art, using your experiences to inspire and uplift others? Let's now explore how Jungian psychology can help you to find meaning and growth in difficult experiences, and learn to connect suffering to the process of individuation. Is it possible to transform your pain into a source of healing and wisdom? Introduce the archetype of the wounded healer, someone who transforms their own suffering into a source of healing for others. Facing your own pain allows you to develop empathy, compassion, and wisdom. Consider the addiction counselor who overcame their own substance abuse, or the therapist who draws upon their personal experiences with depression to help others heal. How can you transform your wounds into wisdom, using your experiences to empower and support others? Integrating your shadow aspects can help you to make peace with your past and find a sense of purpose in your life. Use journaling prompts and active imagination exercises tailored to processing trauma. Reflect on your past experiences, identifying the wounds that have shaped your life. Engage in a dialogue with your wounded inner child, offering them comfort, support, and understanding. Visualize yourself healing and growing stronger through your experiences. These actions are more than coping mechanisms, they are transformative acts. Challenge the societal pressure to avoid pain and suffering, arguing that these experiences are essential for growth, self-discovery, and finding your true calling. Suffering isn't a sign of weakness, it's a source of strength. What if your wounds could become your greatest gifts, allowing you to connect with others on a deeper level and make a positive impact on the world? Finally, let's discuss Jung's views on spirituality and the search for meaning in life. Jung believed that meaning is not something you find, but something you actively create. How can you cultivate a sense of purpose and connection to something larger than yourself? Connect the process of individuation to the spiritual journey. Integrating all aspects of the self can lead to a deeper connection with something larger than ourselves. The self is often the archetype of wholeness or the divine. This helps individuals see themselves as a piece of the larger puzzle that is existence. Symbols, dreams, and archetypes play a significant role in spiritual experiences, and these can provide a framework for understanding our place in the universe and finding meaning in our lives. Pay attention to recurring symbols and themes in your dreams, as these can provide insights into your spiritual journey. Explore different spiritual traditions and practices, finding what resonates with you. Connect with nature, art, music, and other forms of creative expression, allowing yourself to be transported beyond the limitations of your ego. The journey to finding meaning is as unique as you are and is ultimately based on what you uncover about yourself. Challenge the materialistic worldview that equates happiness with external success. Instead, cultivate a sense of inner peace, gratitude, and connection to something greater than yourself. True fulfillment comes not from having more, but from being more. Can you shift your focus from external achievements to internal growth, cultivating a sense of purpose, meaning, and connection in your life? Let's build on that connection to something greater than yourself by extending the discussion of relationships beyond the spark of initial attraction. What happens when the initial euphoria fades and the realities of long-term commitment set in? From a Jungian perspective, lasting partnerships are not about finding the perfect fit, but about embarking on parallel journeys of individuation, intertwined yet distinct. These journeys require a conscious effort to understand both yourself and your partner, acknowledging your respective shadows and supporting each other's growth. Are you willing to commit not just to a person, but to a process of mutual self-discovery? Consider a couple navigating the complexities of career changes, raising children, or dealing with illness. These external stressors can trigger unconscious patterns and projections, threatening the stability of the relationship. However, if both partners are committed to their individual journeys of self-discovery, they can navigate these challenges with greater resilience and understanding. They recognize that external pressures are not the cause of their problems, but rather the catalyst for surfacing unresolved inner conflicts. When a disagreement arises, do you point fingers and assign blame, or do you look inward, examining your own contribution to the dynamic? Central to this is the concept of psychological marriage, the inner union of conscious and unconscious aspects of the self. This internal integration serves as the bedrock for a healthy external marriage. The more whole you become as an individual, the more authentically you can connect with your partner. Conversely, psychological divorce, a severing of connection with one's own inner world, can manifest as detachment, resentment, and ultimately, the breakdown of the relationship. Are you actively cultivating your own inner marriage, or are you neglecting essential parts of yourself? What would that look like? What are the signals of psychological divorce? Therefore, challenge the societal emphasis on romantic love as the sole basis for commitment, which is fleeting, and emphasize the qualities of respect, empathy, and conscious choice. Commitment isn't a binding contract, but an active and evolving choice to grow together, to support each other's individuation, and to navigate life's inevitable challenges with conscious awareness. This requires moving beyond the initial infatuation to cultivate a deeper, more mature form of love, one rooted in mutual respect, understanding, and a commitment to lifelong growth. How can you shift your perspective to view commitment not as a destination, but as an ongoing journey of mutual self-discovery? Now, let's shift our focus from the intimate realm of relationships to the often treacherous landscape of the workplace. How does the shadow manifest in office politics, competition, and power struggles? The workplace, often perceived as a rational environment, is in reality a complex ecosystem teeming with unconscious dynamics. Understanding these forces is crucial for navigating professional life with integrity and success. Are you aware of the shadow aspects that influence your interactions with colleagues and superiors? Projection plays a significant role in workplace conflicts. Our disowned qualities can lead us to misinterpret the motives and behaviors of our colleagues. For example, someone struggling with their own work ethic might attribute laziness or incompetence to a coworker to deflect from their own insecurities. This is more than just a simple judgment. It's a manifestation of the shadow, distorting our perception and fueling conflict. Or consider the colleague who constantly undermines others, a reflection perhaps of their own feelings of inadequacy. Can you identify the patterns of projection at play in your workplace? What strategies can you employ to recognize and manage your shadow reactions in the workplace? The first step is self-awareness. Paying attention to your emotional triggers and assessing the validity of your responses. When you feel a strong negative reaction to a colleague's behavior, ask yourself, what does this trigger reveal about me? Am I projecting my own insecurities or disowned qualities onto them? Instead of reacting impulsively, take a moment to pause, breathe, and assess the situation with greater objectivity. How often do you pause to examine your reactions, or do you immediately assign blame? Challenge the notion that the workplace is a purely rational environment. Recognize it as a complex ecosystem where unconscious dynamics are constantly at play. By cultivating self-awareness, empathy, and ethical behavior, you can navigate these dynamics with greater skill and integrity. This shift in perspective allows you to move beyond reactive behaviors to more conscious and constructive engagement. The more you understand your shadow, the better equipped you are to manage its influence in your professional life. What steps can you take to foster a more conscious and ethical workplace environment? Let's transition from managing workplace dynamics to cultivating creativity in our daily lives. How can we integrate creative expression into the everyday, fostering imagination, playfulness, and innovation in all aspects of our existence? Creativity isn't confined to formal artistic pursuits. It's a fundamental aspect of the human spirit, waiting to be unleashed. Are you living a creative life, or have you confined yourself to routine and conformity? Active imagination, as we've discussed, is not just a therapeutic technique. It's a powerful tool for problem-solving, decision-making, and relationship building. Approaching challenges with a creative mindset can lead to new insights and innovative solutions. For example, instead of reacting defensively to criticism, can you use it as a springboard for creative problem-solving? Can you channel that restless energy into creation? What if the most challenging problem in your life held the key to your greatest creative breakthrough? What practical tips can you implement to foster creativity in your daily routines? Engage in playful activities, explore new environments, and challenge habitual patterns of thinking and behaving. Take a different route to work, visit a museum, try a new recipe, or simply allow yourself to daydream without judgment. The key is to disrupt your routine and create space for new experiences and perspectives to emerge. How can you inject more playfulness and spontaneity into your daily life? Challenge the belief that creativity is limited to certain individuals or professions. Creativity is a skill that can be developed through practice and intention. When you integrate your creative expression, you are opening the door to a more fulfilling life. It is not a talent, but something that is there for you to access. What if your greatest creative potential lies dormant, waiting to be awakened? Now, as we approach the final revelation, let's consider the ultimate challenge: finding meaning in the face of death and impermanence. How can Jung's insights into the collective unconscious and archetypes of death and rebirth help us to confront our mortality and live more fully in the present moment? The acceptance of death is not about resignation, it's about embracing the preciousness of life. Are you living as if you will live forever, or are you acknowledging the finite nature of your existence? The process of individuation is intricately linked to the acceptance of mortality. Facing our own death allows us to live more authentically in the present moment, appreciate the beauty and fragility of life, and make choices that align with our deepest values. It's about stripping away the superficial and focusing on what truly matters. What would you do differently if you knew you had only a limited time to live? How would you spend your days? What relationships would you prioritize? Explore the symbolic meaning of death and rebirth in dreams, myths, and religious traditions. These narratives offer frameworks for understanding the stages of grief and the process of letting go. Death isn't just an end, it's also a beginning. The death of an old self makes way for the birth of a new one. Reflect on the cyclical nature of life, recognizing that every ending is an opportunity for renewal. What old patterns or beliefs are you ready to let go of in order to embrace a new chapter in your life? Challenge the societal denial of death and aging. Embrace the cycle of life and death as a natural and essential part of the human experience. Recognize that your mortality isn't a limitation. It's an invitation to live more fully, to connect more deeply, and to make a meaningful contribution to the world. How can you shift your perspective to view death not as a threat, but as a catalyst for living a more authentic and purposeful life? But how do these profound insights into self-acceptance and mortality translate into the practical world of leadership? Can Jungian principles help us to identify and cultivate authentic leaders, individuals who inspire trust and empower others through their genuine connection and self-awareness? True leadership, from a Jungian perspective, isn't about wielding power or climbing the corporate ladder. It stems from a deep understanding of oneself, one's strengths and weaknesses, and the ability to connect with others on a human level. Are you following a leader or a carefully constructed image? The concepts of the persona, shadow, and self are crucial to understanding different leadership styles. Leaders who are overly identified with their persona, the polished mask they present to the world, often become out of touch with their followers, creating a distance that breeds distrust and resentment. They may prioritize image over substance, seeking validation through external achievements rather than genuine connection. In contrast, leaders who embrace their shadow, acknowledging their vulnerabilities and imperfections, can inspire loyalty and trust, fostering a culture of authenticity and psychological safety. The narcissistic leader, driven by ego and an inflated persona, stands in stark contrast to the authentic leader, who embraces their imperfections and connects with their team through vulnerability. Consider the CEO known for their charismatic public image but lacking in empathy, versus the leader who openly acknowledges their mistakes and learns from them. Which leader would you be more willing to follow? Jungian coaching offers a powerful framework for helping leaders develop self-awareness, identify their unconscious biases, and cultivate more authentic leadership styles. This process typically involves 4 key steps: building rapport, facilitating self-discovery, integrating insights, and taking action. By exploring their personal history, dreams, and patterns of behavior, leaders can gain a deeper understanding of their motivations, fears, and blind spots. This process allows for deeper and more meaningful connections with those they lead. Are you ready to embark on a journey of self-discovery to become a more effective leader? Challenge the traditional view of leadership as a top-down hierarchy where power is concentrated at the top. Effective leadership, from a Jungian perspective, requires vulnerability, empathy, and a willingness to empower others. It's about fostering growth and collaboration rather than exerting control. Leadership is not about dictating orders, but about inspiring a shared vision and empowering individuals to reach their full potential. How can you shift your perspective to view leadership not as a position of authority, but as an opportunity to serve and empower others? Now, let's broaden our scope beyond individual leadership and consider the collective shadow, the darker aspects of society that often go unacknowledged and unaddressed. How do societal ills, such as prejudice, violence, and environmental destruction, manifest as expressions of a collective unconscious? Extending the concept of the shadow from the individual to the collective allows us to see these problems not as isolated incidents, but as symptoms of a deeper psychological malaise. Are we, as a society, willing to confront our collective shadow? Recurring cycles of violence and scapegoating throughout history serve as stark reminders of the power of the collective shadow. Unacknowledged fears and resentments often find expression through the dehumanization of certain groups, fueling conflict and oppression. Propaganda, for example, often exploits societal anxieties and stereotypes to demonize the other, justifying acts of violence and discrimination. The psychological roots of racism and xenophobia lie deep within the collective shadow, where fear of the unknown and the desire for group identity can override empathy and compassion. How can we break free from these destructive patterns? Acknowledging and integrating the collective shadow is essential for promoting greater social justice, empathy, and environmental stewardship. This requires fostering dialogue, reconciliation, and education, creating spaces for individuals to confront their biases and develop a deeper understanding of different perspectives. By acknowledging our shared responsibility for societal problems, we can begin to heal the wounds of the past and build a more just and sustainable future. What steps can you take to promote collective healing in your community? Challenge the tendency to demonize the other and to deny our shared responsibility for societal problems. Viewing collective ills as opportunities for collective self-reflection and transformation allows us to move beyond blame and judgment and to work together to create a better world. By embracing our shared humanity, we can begin to dismantle the structures of oppression and build a more equitable and compassionate society. How can you shift your perspective to see collective ills not as insurmountable obstacles, but as opportunities for collective growth? Let's now shift our focus to the digital realm, exploring how technology shapes our identities, relationships, and sense of self. How does the digital persona, the curated version of ourselves that we present online, differ from our real-life selves, and what are the implications of this discrepancy? In the digital age, our online interactions have become an integral part of our lives, shaping how we perceive ourselves and how others perceive us. But is the image we project online an accurate reflection of who we truly are? Social media profiles often serve as carefully constructed personas, designed to present an idealized version of ourselves to the world. We curate our photos, craft witty captions, and carefully manage our online image, often creating a facade that is disconnected from our true selves. This constant pursuit of validation can lead to a pattern of comparison and self-doubt, eroding our sense of authenticity and fueling a desire for external approval. Consider the perfect Instagram feed, showcasing flawless bodies, exotic vacations, and seemingly effortless success, a stark contrast to the reality of everyday life. Are you comparing your real life to someone else's curated online persona? Technology has the potential to both enhance and diminish our sense of self. Online interactions can foster connection and creativity, allowing us to connect with like-minded individuals, share our ideas, and express ourselves in new and innovative ways. However, excessive reliance on technology can also lead to isolation, addiction, and the erosion of empathy. The constant barrage of information and stimulation can overwhelm our senses, leaving us feeling disconnected from ourselves and the world around us. How can we strike a balance between the benefits and the risks of technology? Challenge the notion that our online identities are separate from our real selves. Your digital persona isn't a mask, but another facet of yourself. Cultivating self-awareness and authenticity in our online interactions is essential for maintaining a healthy sense of self in the digital age. By being mindful of how we present ourselves online, we can ensure that our digital persona reflects our true values and aspirations, rather than a distorted or idealized image. How can you integrate your online and offline selves to create a more authentic and integrated identity? Now, let's delve into a particularly potent time for individuation, midlife. How does this period of transition, often marked by a sense of dissatisfaction or a longing for something more meaningful, serve as a call to embrace our true selves? Midlife is often characterized by a re-evaluation of one's life, career, and relationships, a time when individuals begin to question their past choices and contemplate their future direction. This can be a challenging but ultimately rewarding experience, as it presents an opportunity to confront unresolved issues and embrace a more authentic path. Are you experiencing a midlife awakening? The midlife crisis is often triggered by the need to confront unresolved shadow aspects, integrate the anima animus, and develop a more authentic persona. Common themes include questioning career choices, reevaluating relationships, and confronting mortality. These challenges, while painful, can serve as catalysts for profound personal growth. By facing our fears and insecurities, we can begin to dismantle the structures of our old selves and create space for a more fulfilling and meaningful existence. What old patterns are you ready to shed? Jungian therapy can provide invaluable support for individuals navigating midlife transitions. By exploring their unconscious motivations, addressing unresolved trauma, and developing a deeper understanding of their archetypal patterns, individuals can find renewed purpose and embrace the second half of life with greater wisdom and authenticity. Specific techniques and guidance can help navigate the unique challenges of this period, fostering resilience and promoting psychological well-being. Are you ready to embrace the challenges and opportunities of midlife? Challenge the societal view of midlife as a decline. Midlife isn't a crisis, it's an awakening. This is an opportunity for profound growth, self-discovery, and the fulfillment of one's true potential. By embracing the wisdom and experience that come with age, we can find new meaning and purpose in our lives. How can you shift your perspective to view midlife not as an ending, but as a new beginning? As we continue our exploration of the inner world, let's now consider the power of myth. How do these ancient narratives serve as maps for the soul, providing guidance and wisdom for navigating life's challenges? Myths, far from being mere fairy tales, contain profound psychological truths that can help us to understand ourselves and the world around us. Are you listening to the wisdom of the myths? Recurring mythological themes offer valuable insights into universal psychological experiences, such as shadow integration, anima-animus balancing, and the individuation process. The myth of Persephone and Hades, for example, serves as a metaphor for shadow integration, illustrating the importance of confronting and integrating the darker aspects of our personality. The myth of Eros and Psyche, on the other hand, represents anima-animus integration, highlighting the need to balance the masculine and feminine principles within ourselves. How can these stories guide you? Studying mythology can provide a framework for understanding our own lives and finding meaning in our experiences. By recognizing the archetypal patterns at play in our own narratives, we can gain a deeper understanding of our motivations, fears, and desires. Resources for accessing and interpreting myths abound, from books and websites to scholarly articles and documentaries. What myths resonate most deeply with you, and what can they teach you about yourself? Challenge the tendency to dismiss myths as mere fairy tales. See myths not as stories, but as roadmaps. They contain profound psychological truths that can help us to live more meaningful and fulfilling lives. By embracing the wisdom of the myths, we can unlock hidden potential and navigate the complexities of the human experience with greater awareness and understanding. How can you incorporate the wisdom of the myths into your daily life? Finally, let's reflect on Jung's legacy and its enduring relevance in the 21st century. How can we apply his insights to address the challenges of a rapidly changing world, while also recognizing their continued value for personal growth and understanding human nature? Jung's work, though rooted in the past, continues to offer valuable guidance for navigating the complexities of the present and future. Are his ideas still relevant today? Jungian concepts offer a unique lens for understanding contemporary issues such as social justice, environmentalism, and the search for meaning in a technological age. His emphasis on the importance of the unconscious, the power of archetypes, and the need for individuation provides a framework for addressing these challenges with greater wisdom, empathy, and compassion. In a world increasingly driven by materialism and technology, Jung's insights remind us of the importance of connecting with our inner selves and finding meaning beyond the superficial. How can Jung's ideas help us build a better future? Jung's influence extends far beyond the field of psychology, shaping art, literature, film, and spirituality. His concepts have been used to interpret works of art, analyze literary characters, and explore the deeper meanings of human experience. Examples of Jungian concepts abound in these fields, from the archetypal hero's journey in epic tales to the exploration of the shadow in Gothic literature. How has Jung's work influenced your understanding of art and culture? Challenge the notion that Jungian psychology is outdated or irrelevant. Your unconscious will always be part of you. His insights into the human psyche are timeless and continue to offer valuable guidance for living a more authentic and fulfilling life. By embracing the wisdom of Jung, we can unlock our full potential and create a more meaningful and purposeful existence. How, then, does this journey of self-discovery extend to our roles as parents? Can Jungian psychology offer insights into nurturing individuation in our children, allowing them to blossom into their authentic selves rather than miniature versions of ourselves? Parenting, viewed through a Jungian lens, shifts from a process of molding to one of guiding, supporting the child's unique journey of self-discovery. What if the greatest gift we can give our children is the freedom to become who they truly are? The concepts of persona, shadow, and animus take on new dimensions when applied to child development. Parents must be mindful of projecting their own unfulfilled desires or repressed qualities onto their children, inadvertently shaping their persona in ways that may not align with their true nature. A parent who is pressured to conform to societal expectations, for example, might project those expectations onto their child, discouraging them from pursuing their true passions. Recognizing when we are projecting our own shadow aspects onto our children, criticizing them for traits we dislike in ourselves, is crucial for fostering their individuation. Consider the parent who constantly criticizes their child for being lazy, when in reality, they are projecting their own repressed desire for relaxation and enjoyment. Are you burdening your child with your own unmet needs? Fostering a child's self-esteem, encouraging their creativity, and helping them to develop a healthy relationship with their emotions are essential for their psychological well-being. Providing a safe and supportive environment where children can explore their interests, express their feelings, and make mistakes without fear of judgment is paramount. Strategies for fostering independence and resilience, such as allowing children to solve their own problems and encouraging them to take risks, can empower them to develop a strong sense of self. How can you create a space where your child feels safe to be their authentic self, flaws and all? What if the traditional view of parenting, focused on shaping children to fit societal norms, is fundamentally flawed? Perhaps the primary goal should be to create a supportive environment where children can discover their unique potential, even if it deviates from our expectations. See parenting not as molding clay, but as nurturing a seed, providing the conditions for it to grow into its unique form. What if your child's greatest strength lies in the very qualities that you find challenging? But what happens when the pursuit of excellence becomes a prison? How does the shadow side of perfectionism manifest, becoming a barrier to self-acceptance, creativity, and genuine connection with others? While often lauded as a virtue, perfectionism, viewed through a Jungian lens, can reveal a darker side, driven by a deep-seated fear of judgment and a need for constant validation. What if our relentless pursuit of flawlessness is actually a desperate attempt to mask our insecurities and avoid facing our true selves. Perfectionism is often closely linked to the persona, the mask we present to the world. The need to project a flawless image stems from a fear of rejection or a desire for approval, leading to a rigid and inauthentic persona that is disconnected from our true self. This can be further complicated by the anima animus, as individuals may strive to embody idealized masculine or feminine traits in an attempt to achieve perfection. Men may feel pressured to be strong, stoic, and successful, while women may feel compelled to be nurturing, beautiful, and accommodating. This constant striving for an unattainable ideal can lead to exhaustion, anxiety, and a profound sense of emptiness. What if the perfect image you're striving for is actually preventing you from connecting with others on a deeper level? Are you living your life for yourself or for the approval of others? Cultivating self-compassion and challenging perfectionistic thought patterns are essential for breaking free from this cycle. Practicing mindfulness, self-affirmations, and reframing negative self-talk can help us to develop a more balanced and accepting view of ourselves. Instead of focusing on our flaws, we can learn to appreciate our strengths and to see our imperfections as a source of authenticity and connection. Consider the power of a simple self-compassion exercise, such as placing your hand on your heart and repeating the phrase, "May I be kind to myself in this moment." Can you embrace your imperfections and see them as a source of strength and authenticity? What if your flaws aren't weaknesses, but the very qualities that make you human? What if the societal pressure to be perfect is a myth? What if our imperfections are not liabilities, but assets? Embrace your flaws and see them as a source of strength, authenticity, and connection. Your journey is about progress, not perfection. Now, let's turn to another pervasive fear that holds us back from living fully, the fear of failure. How can we reframe our perspective and transform this negative force into a positive one, using Jungian psychology and the archetype of the trickster? The fear of failure often sabotages our goals and prevents us from taking risks, leading to a life of missed opportunities and unfulfilled potential. What if failure isn't an ending, but a beginning, a chance to learn, grow, and create something new? The trickster, as a symbol of chaos, disruption, and unexpected opportunities, offers a powerful antidote to the fear of failure. By embracing the trickster within ourselves, we can learn to take risks, to laugh at our mistakes, and to see failure not as a defeat, but as a valuable learning experience. The fear of failure is often rooted in a fear of judgment or a lack of self-worth, stemming from the expectations of others. By recognizing these underlying fears, we can begin to challenge them and to develop a more resilient and self-compassionate mindset. Consider the story of Thomas Edison, who famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Can you view failure as a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block? Reframing failure as a learning opportunity, cultivating a growth mindset, and celebrating small wins can help us to overcome our fear of failure. We can learn to see setbacks not as evidence of our inadequacy, but as opportunities to refine our approach and to develop new skills. By focusing on our progress and celebrating our achievements, no matter how small, we can build momentum and cultivate a sense of self-efficacy. Consider the entrepreneur who launches a failed business, but uses the experience to gain invaluable knowledge and insights that lead to future success. Can you celebrate your small wins, even when facing larger setbacks? What if your failures aren't defeats, but stepping stones on the path to success? What if failure is not a negative experience, but an integral part of the creative process? See failure not as an ending, but as a beginning, a chance to learn, grow, and create something new. Your failures aren't defeats, they're stepping stones. Finally, let's consider how Jungian psychology can inform our understanding of social justice. How can we connect inner work with outer action, using our understanding of the shadow to create a more just and equitable world? Social justice activism requires courage, persistence, and a deep commitment to creating a better world. However, it also requires a willingness to confront our own biases and prejudices, to acknowledge our complicity in systems of oppression, and to engage in self-reflection and inner healing. What if true social transformation begins within? The concept of the collective shadow sheds light on the psychological roots of social inequalities and systemic injustices. Our unacknowledged biases and prejudices can contribute to discrimination and oppression, perpetuating cycles of violence and marginalization. Power structures often exploit collective fears and resentments, using propaganda and divisive rhetoric to maintain their dominance. By recognizing these patterns, we can begin to dismantle the psychological foundations of oppression and to build a more just and equitable society. Consider the ways in which stereotypes and prejudices are perpetuated through media and popular culture, reinforcing harmful narratives and perpetuating social inequalities. Are you aware of your own biases and prejudices and how they might impact your interactions with others? Engaging in social justice activism in a way that is both effective and ethical requires practicing empathy, listening to marginalized voices, and challenging our own assumptions. We must be willing to step outside of our comfort zones, to engage in difficult conversations, and to confront uncomfortable truths. By exploring the shadow, we can gain a greater understanding of societal issues and develop strategies for creating meaningful change. Consider the importance of amplifying the voices of marginalized communities, creating platforms for them to share their stories and perspectives. How can you use your privilege to advocate for social justice? What if social justice isn't just about changing the world, but about changing ourselves? Challenge the notion that social justice is solely about external change. True social transformation requires inner work, self-reflection, and a commitment to healing our own wounds. Social justice isn't just about changing the world, it's about changing ourselves. By transforming ourselves, we will change the world. How can we move from the battlefield of inner conflict to a state of harmonious wholeness? If social justice begins within, what is the inner work required to achieve this state of inner peace? The journey towards wholeness, towards integrating the disparate parts of ourselves, can be understood through the lens of psychological alchemy. Just as alchemists sought to transform base metals into gold, we are called to transform the raw materials of our psyche or shadows, our repressed emotions, and our conflicting, desirous into a unified and authentic self. Like the alchemists, our inner journey unfolds in stages, each marked by its own challenges and transformations. The nigrido, the blackening, represents the confrontation with our shadow, the dark and disowned aspects of our personality. This stage can feel like a descent into depression as we confront the uncomfortable truths about ourselves, the parts we would rather deny or ignore. Consider a period of intense self-doubt, a moment of recognizing your own capacity for anger or resentment, or a painful acknowledgement of past mistakes. These experiences, though unpleasant, are necessary for initiating the alchemical process. The albedo, the whitening, signifies a purification of consciousness, a moment of clarity and insight that follows the confrontation with the shadow. This stage can manifest as a newfound sense of self-acceptance, a release of guilt or shame, or a deeper understanding of one's motivations. Imagine a moment of forgiveness, either towards yourself or another, a sudden realization that you are worthy of love and belonging, or a breakthrough in therapy that illuminates a long-standing pattern of behavior. What if these moments of clarity are glimpses of your true potential, waiting to be unveiled? Finally, the rubedo, the reddening, represents the achievement of wholeness, the integration of all aspects of the self into a unified and authentic whole. This stage brings a sense of purpose, joy, and deep connection with oneself and the world. The journey is a cyclical one of death and rebirth, of continuous transformation and renewal. The philosopher's stone isn't an object, but a state of being that is synonymous with the integrated self. Central to this alchemical process is the principle of conjunctio oppositorum, the union of opposites. To truly become whole, we must embrace the inherent paradoxes within ourselves, the light and the dark, the masculine and the feminine, the conscious and the unconscious. As Jung himself noted, there is no birth of consciousness without pain. This is particularly relevant in the context of shadow integration, for we must come to terms with the shadow aspects of our personality and that of the anima animus. How can you integrate the anima animus without truly being self-aware? How can you use the mask of the persona to present the integrated self in a more approachable way? This principle challenges the linear notion of psychological growth, urging us to embrace the cyclical journey of death and rebirth, transformation and renewal. Psychological growth is not a straight line, but a spiral. The key to navigating the inner landscape of the psyche is the transcendent function, a psychological process that allows us to reconcile opposing forces within ourselves and discover a new, more integrated perspective. How can we hold seemingly irreconcilable viewpoints in a way that fosters growth rather than conflict? The transcendent function invites us to embrace the tension between opposing viewpoints, recognizing that it is in this very tension that new possibilities emerge. Consider someone struggling with perfectionism and an innate desire to create. This can be the foundation for the transcendent function. On one hand, they feel compelled to produce flawless work, driven by a fear of judgment and a need for external validation. On the other hand, they yearn to embrace imperfection, to experiment, and to express their unique voice without constraint. These conflicting desires can create a paralyzing tension, leading to procrastination, self-criticism, and a stifling of creativity. By holding these opposing viewpoints in conscious awareness, without judgment or the need for immediate resolution, a new perspective can emerge. Perhaps they can embrace the idea that imperfection is not a flaw, but a source of authenticity and innovation. They might discover that their most powerful work arises from moments of vulnerability and experimentation, not from a relentless pursuit of flawlessness. The transcendent function is not a passive process, but an active engagement with the inner world. To engage in it, first identify the opposing viewpoints within yourself. I must be perfect versus I have the freedom to create. Then explore the underlying needs and values associated with each viewpoint, the need for approval and the desire for self-expression. Next, hold the tension between these opposing viewpoints without judgment, resisting the urge to choose one over the other. Simply observe the thoughts, feelings, and sensations that arise, allowing them to be present without resistance. Finally, allow a new perspective to emerge spontaneously. This may take time and patience, but with consistent attention, a new understanding will arise that integrates the opposing viewpoints into a more comprehensive whole. Keep a journal of the process. The transcendent function teaches us to see inner conflict not as a problem to be solved, but as an opportunity for growth and transformation. What if your greatest breakthroughs lie in the very tensions you've been trying to avoid? The transcendent function helps you hone this skill, taking you from conflict to resolution, from despair to hope. Ultimately, the journey of individuation is about finding meaning in the everyday. If the transcendent function is a process of integration, how can we cultivate an everyday awareness of the symbolic and find the extraordinary in the ordinary? By cultivating a symbolic mindset, we can enrich our lives and connect with the deeper truths of the unconscious. This involves recognizing the symbolic meaning in our experiences, paying attention to synchronicities, and exploring the archetypal patterns that shape our lives. Symbolic thinking connects the formal techniques of Jungian psychology, such as dream analysis, active imagination, and mythology, to everyday life. What recurring motifs appear in your relationships? What lessons can you learn from your interactions with nature? How does art, music, and literature move you? Perhaps you keep encountering a specific animal, like a fox, which in mythology often represents cleverness and adaptability. Or maybe you find yourself repeatedly drawn to the color blue, which can symbolize peace, tranquility, and intuition. By paying attention to these synchronicities, you can gain valuable insights into your unconscious mind and the path of your individuation. How can the skills used in dream analysis be applied to these everyday experiences? It involves asking what unconscious meaning or desire might lie beneath the surface. There are many practical ways to cultivate a symbolic mindset. Keep a journal to record your dreams, synchronicities, and reflections. Explore myths and fairy tales, paying attention to the archetypal characters and storylines that resonate with you. Engage with art, music, and nature, allowing yourself to be moved and inspired by the beauty and wonder of the world. Look to online resources, local courses, and communities that emphasize symbolic thought, dream analysis, etc. But most importantly, embrace the mysterious, the intuitive, and the imaginative, allowing yourself to see the world not just as a collection of objects, but as a tapestry of symbols that reflect the deeper workings of the human psyche. What if the world around you is a mirror, reflecting the hidden depths of your soul? What if the ordinary moments of your day are actually doorways to the extraordinary? What if the life you're living is just a character you're playing, and your true self remains hidden? The journey through Jung's concepts persona, shadow, anima animus, and individuationis, a process of stripping away the layers to reveal who you are always meant to be. While each concept holds its own significance, the true self is not about cherry-picking the desirable traits. It's about embracing the totality of your being, the light and the dark, the strengths and the weaknesses, because it is the integration of these seemingly contradictory aspects that leads to wholeness. Think of it as an orchestra. Each instrument, even the seemingly dissonant ones, plays a vital role in creating a rich and harmonious symphony. Recognizing recurring patterns like projection, dream symbolism, and archetypal influences acts as a guide on this journey. These aren't just abstract concepts. They are keys to unlocking deeper self-awareness, improving relationships, and finding greater meaning in everyday life. Ultimately, understanding Jungian psychology is understanding that the self is not a fixed entity, but a dynamic process. Embracing this process, with all its challenges and rewards, is the key to a more authentic and meaningful existence. The true self isn't a destination, but a direction, a continuous striving toward wholeness. This journey of self-discovery extends far beyond the individual. Greater self-awareness and integration ripples outwards, fostering empathy, compassion, and a commitment to social justice. When we understand our own shadows, we are less likely to project them onto others and more inclined to approach the world with understanding and acceptance. The wholeness we seek isn't just about personal fulfillment. It's about creating a more just and equitable world for all. Consider the recurring pattern of finding meaning in suffering and adversity. Embracing our wounds can transform us into wounded healers, capable of offering solace and guidance to others who are struggling. Recall how the archetypes have influenced this journey. Every difficulty creates a ripple effect that could impact all areas of life. All areas can be enhanced by the true self, from professional life to hobbies. By truly knowing ourselves, we gain the power to make a positive impact on every sphere of existence. Engaging with Jungian psychology, therefore, is not just about gaining knowledge. It's about undergoing a profound transformation of consciousness. It's about shifting from a limited, egocentric perspective to a more expansive, interconnected understanding of reality, allowing us to see ourselves as part of a larger whole. Perhaps you're wondering, where do I go from here? How do I continue on this path of individuation? The journey never truly ends. The key is ongoing exploration and self-compassion. There will be moments of doubt, setbacks, and confusion, and it's important to approach these challenges with patience and understanding. Remember that the goal is not perfection, but integration, and that every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to your authentic self. As a final example, consider how recognizing the pattern of projection can lead to a breakthrough in self-awareness. Imagine you're constantly irritated by a colleague's arrogance. Instead of simply dismissing them as unlikable, you pause to consider whether their behavior might be reflecting an aspect of yourself that you're disowning. Perhaps you secretly admire their confidence, or perhaps you're afraid of appearing arrogant yourself. By acknowledging this hidden aspect of your own psyche, you can begin to integrate it consciously, reducing your irritation and improving your relationship with your colleague. This self-reflection also allows you to act and react differently because of the new self-knowledge. What if the answer to the life you're living, to finding your true self, lies not in achieving a fixed state, but embracing a direction? The true self is more of a direction than an end goal. As you continue on this path, consider these questions. What aspects of your shadow are you still struggling to integrate? How can you use your unique gifts and talents to make a positive impact on the world? What new symbols or archetypes are emerging in your life? These questions are invitations to delve deeper into the mysteries of your own psyche and to discover the unique potential that lies within. The path is long, but it is rewarding. We hope this video has acted as a catalyst. Now, read Jung's works, seek Jungian therapy, or join a community of like-minded individuals. These actionable items in one's own life will help. We encourage you to share your own experiences and insights in the comments section. Share the biggest insight you gained from this video, the biggest challenge you face on your journey of individuation, or an example of a synchronicity you have experienced. We would love to hear from you. In future videos, we will be diving deeper into specific archetypes, advanced techniques for dream analysis, or the application of Jungian psychology to specific areas of life, such as relationships, career, and spirituality. Subscribe, share, and continue the journey of self-discovery.